Alright, good day, Corey here with Gas Automotive again. We're going to be back working on the Ford 460 big block. Today we'll be taking out the camshaft, we'll take out the pistons so that we can measure all the bores and inspect everything inside and see where we're at. And probably take the oil pump off, take the crankshaft out, and then probably send it out. And I would like to get the deck zeroed and resurfaced, and probably get the thing at least hot tanked and cleaned up for ourselves. It'll be a lot easier than doing it ourselves. So first we will pop out the camshaft. Absolute garbage. Now, of course, now that I've taken off the gear itself, it gives you access to these two bolts, and the small plate here holds the camshaft in place. Small plate comes off. And out she pops. Technically doesn't look that bad. I'm sure it's just a stock camshaft and nothing fancy. Alright, if we look at the bearings here, this one actually looks pretty good. You don't see anything seriously wrong with it. But once we get back, it might be very hard for you guys to see. Once we get back to this one back here, you can see it's like scored inside, almost like worms were going through it and eating tracks. And that's probably just the age of it, probably coming apart, like delaminating over time potentially. Or that could also be no oil changes the thing probably ever had. It was like sludge inside of here. So those will definitely have to be replaced. They'll have to come out anyways if it's going to get put into a hot tank, because that would probably just destroy them. Alright, next we'll pop off the oil pump. So dirty. Now I see all the piston rods have all been stamped with numbers indicating each cylinder. I don't know if Ford did that stock. I know some companies did, some companies did not. Or it's an indication that this engine has been apart and somebody's done stuff to it. Ew. Alright, now to pop out the pistons, I will make sure that the crankshaft is rotated all the way up. Giving me access to the two nuts to break them free. Alright, as you can see, I've got which cylinders. This is good old number 1. I've broken the nuts loose, but I don't take them all the way off. I leave them so that they would be completely flush. I'll probably go a little bit above flush, so it's just a little bit dished on both sides. And then to pop these off, because that should be on there pretty darn tight, we use a hammer. We don't actually use the metal end, because that would damage things, bend the threads, could damage stuff. We use the wooden end. I've got some black tape on here because sometimes it likes to split the handle as you're popping it apart, hitting it. But this will just hit on these until we get it to pop apart. Now every engine is different. Sometimes they pop apart quite easily. Sometimes they can be a bugger. You know, Chevys are quite hard to get apart sometimes. Each company's different on how they machine things and how it went together. But just to show you here, this is just like that. That one's nice and easy, right? Now that I've got it split apart nicely, we can see a gap. Now I can finish taking it all the way off. And I prefer to keep each nut with each side. Everything's married together and mated for its life. Now I just take the hammer and pop it down a little bit more. It went down real nice and smooth. Take the cap itself off. Keep it together. Normally I keep it together, but it's been stamped already, so it's easy to line it back up again. Original Ford bearing doesn't say anything about size stamping. However, we can see inside here, look how uneven it is, how much is worn through the different levels over the year. So I'm no good. Keep everything together just for future reference later. Now we're gonna push this sucker. Oh, this slides right out, nice and easy. That is. Now, of course, I will keep the cap orientated back on the correct way. Put the correct nut back onto each side, and whichever was down on the nut goes back down, because most of these nuts are directional. Some aren't, some aren't. But I choose to keep them the same way, just for future reference. Now, as soon as I popped this piston, now this is just number 1 piston here. Boom. If you can see, there's like a crack here. Small little pits. And it looks like it's almost cracked all the way up. Same as on this side here. Probably bust that sucker right off of there. See how the other side looks. This side doesn't look as bad. Oh yeah, it's cracked all the way through right to the inside. Well, now we need pistons. Perfect. No signs of it saying 30 over or anything. Alright, now we'll turn the engine over a little bit. For the next cylinder number 2. Okay, that's pretty good right there. Crankshaft itself looks good. Same thing, just dish it a little bit so the threads are just under the top of the nut. Pop quite nicely. Exact same thing as the other one. Just wearing through because of its age. Take the hammer and I can just tap it down and pop it. Make sure you got your hand on the other side to catch the piston when it comes out. Make sure the numbers line up. This is not correct. This says that this is piston number 5, when that should be number 2, right? It should be 1, 2, and work its way down. So that's incorrect. This piston looks okay. But once one of them's garbage, they're all garbage. Chances of finding another piston to match are going to be impossible. Alright, now we just turn it over and keep on going. That's good. Yet another cracked piston. And this one says number 2, so this should have been in the front here. but now it's been moved someplace else. This one says 6 on it. Number 3. Ooh. Worn out, past its prime. Number 4. Eight, so I think that's the only one that was in the correct spot. Everything technically looks pretty good on the crankshaft itself. All of the grooves are going in a direction, right? In rotation. I don't have to see anything too deep. Probably get it turned 10-10 just because. If you're gonna send it to machine shop, you might as well get a whole bunch of stuff done to it, right? Not too bad, normal wear. Of course, I'll keep all of these in order as well, even though they are cast right on the very top. It's always just a good habit and practice to keep it in order. That one's worn pretty good. Well, not too bad. Those all look really good technically. But I really don't like the rods. Some are better than others. Some of them just a little bit too deep on the grooving. Of course, keep everything all nicely laid out and together. It's all on cardboard just to keep it clean and protect it, even though it's all got to get washed and scrubbed and cleaned anyways. It's just a good habit to keep it in. I like that kind of stuff. These are all garbage anyways. Too bad all the cylinders still look really good technically. But with 3 cracked pistons, we'll have to see what my options are. If I'm just going to bore it out 30 over and get 30 over pistons, maybe I can get a standard set of pistons. We will have to find out. But I definitely learned that I need a lot more than I thought I did. This thing is obviously a lot higher in the mileage department than was led to believe, and I'll have to take it and probably take a few measurements now and look up what I can get for pistons and stuff like that and send it all out to the machine shop. I'm going to get it probably decked down to 0, also again depending on what kind of pistons I get now that I gotta find pistons. But until then, I will clean things up and we'll tune in next time and see how far we get. See if we get it back from the machine shop yet or if it's just about to go. Thanks for watching.